In this exercise, I'm going to show you how to create a very basic beveling effect by adding a stroke to our type and then just slightly nudging that stroke independently of the fill. I've saved my progress as offsettype.ai, and I'm going to click on my red type here in order to select it. And then I'm going to add a stroke here in the appearance panel. Now, throughout this chapter, you'll want to keep the appearance panel up on screen because we'll be coming back to it a lot. And the appearance panel is analogous to layers. So just as the layers panel shows you all the layers inside of your document as well as all the object inside those layers, the appearance panel shows you all the attributes and effects that are stacked up on top of each other associated with the selected object. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go over to stroke and I'm going to click on a stroke swatch in order to bring up the swatches panel, and I'll assign rich black as my stroke. And then I'm going to take the line weight value up to 10 points, which may seem ridiculous because it's going to give us a very ugly effect on screen here. Then I'll click on the word stroke and I'll switch the corner option to round join. Now at this point you might look at this text and think, gee whiz, why does Illustrator do that? Why does it let the stroke infringe on the actual letter forms, which makes the letters quite illegible actually? Well, what Illustrator is doing here, it's going ahead and centering the stroke on the letter forms, on the outlines. So we've got 5 points of that 10-point stroke going outside the letters and 5 points going inward. Now, normally, if this were a regular path outline, we could change our align stroke option from center to one of the others, but we can't do that with type. So our choices are seemingly very limited. Not so much. Watch this. It's very easy to get a better effect by grabbing this stroke and moving it under the fill. Like so. That's all it takes. And that way, the stroke is applied first, the fill is applied second. So anything at the bottom is applied before the stuff at the top. So in other words, the fill is covering the stroke just as it would if we had one object on top of another inside the layers panel. And we end up getting this much better effect right there. Now, the next trick is to nudge that stroke independently of the fill. And you can do that using a dynamic effect. But first, you've got to click on the word stroke to make it active so that we affect the stroke independently of any other attributes. Also, you might want to go ahead and twirl open stroke, that is, click on this little twirly triangle so you can see any dynamic effects that are applied, which are currently none. We haven't applied anything so far. Now go up to the Effect menu, choose Distort and Transform, and choose what has to be the most useful of all the dynamic effects, which is the Transform command. Or you can press Ctrl-E or Command-E on a Mac if you loaded my D keys. E for effect, of course. So I'll go ahead and choose that command, and up comes this dialog box, which allows you to scale this attribute and rotate it and flip it if you want to. Lots of different things you can do here. I don't know why you'd want to rotate a stroke. I'll go ahead and enter an angle value of 15 degrees and turn on the preview checkbox. That's the effect you'd get, but you could do it if you want to. I imagine you could rotate a bunch of strokes actually in the background if you like. Anyway, I'm going to change that value back to 0 and turn preview off for a moment, just so that we have a better sense of the before and after version of the stroke. And then I'm going to change the move values, which allow me to nudge the stroke. And you may recall that positive horizontal values move the object, in this case the stroke, to the right. Negative values move it to the left. And vertical, where vertical is concerned, positive values move the item down, not up, and then negative values move it up. So I'm looking to move this stroke to the left a little bit, to the tune of 2 points, so I'll enter -2, and then I'll change the vertical value to 0.5, just half a point. And then I'll turn on the preview checkbox and we get this effect here. So just a slight little nudge assigned to the stroke independently of the fill. Click OK, and you can now see this dynamic effect applied to the stroke. So we've got the FX icon, we've got Transform. If you want to change your mind, you click on Transform, enter new values. You've got your old values for reference and so on. And then you can turn on preview, whatever you want to do. Anyway, this changes just fine. I'm going to cancel out. That's how you create a very basic bevel effect. In the next exercise, I'll show you how to duplicate this stroke along with its dynamic effect, and then we will edit both strokes and effects in order to build up our bevel.